Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Salam Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Distinguished speakers, respected colleagues, and honored guests. My name is Muhammad Kabil Mubarak as the third author, and my team consists of Madeswanika as the first author, Kevin Firide Mudawintu as the second author, Yuniar Melissa Kristianti as the fourth author, and Rahmaya Nova as the fifth author. It is an honor for us to welcome you to this session and share our latest research findings titled Isofluran and Sevofluran in the operating room, a comprehensive meta-analysis of efficacy and safety. This research is the result of a collaboration between the Department of Anesthesiology, Faculty of Health Science, Harapan Bangsa University, and the Department of Nursing, Jenderal Sudirman University. In our presentation today, we will discuss an evidence-based comparison between the two most commonly used volatile anesthetic agents in modern surgical practice, isofluran and sevofluran. Our analysis examines the efficacy, safety profile, and preoperative outcomes of both agents, with the aim of supporting clinical decision-making and optimizing patient care, particularly in situations where cost and resource availability are key considerations. Now, to get you through our research journey, let me walk you through the outline of today's presentation. The first point is introduction. The second point are material and method. The third point is result. The fourth point is discussion. And the last point is conclusion. Let us now begin with the introduction. Inhalation anesthesia plays a fundamental role in modern preoperative care, providing reliable induction and maintenance of anesthesia for a wide range of surgical procedures. Among the most commonly used agents are isofluran and sevofluran, both of which have been extensively evaluated for their efficacy, safety, and cost effectiveness. Sevofluran, with its low blood gas solubility, is known for its rapid onset and offset, smooth induction, and good recovery profile. Minimal airway irritation and rapid recovery make it highly suitable for outpatient surgery and enhanced recovery protocol. Isofluran, although more soluble and generally associated with slower recovery, remains widely used due to its economic advantage and evidence supporting myocardial protection, particularly in ischemia reperfusion settings. The next we have objective. The primary objective of our study was to determine whether isofluran is non-inferior to sevofluran in terms of key preoperative outcome, including length of ICU stay, time to extubation, post-operative myocardial injury, and short-term mortality. Our ultimate goal is to provide robust evidence to guide the selection of cost-effective, outcome-oriented anesthesia in various surgical procedures. The next topic are material and method and will be presented by Miss Junior. Miss Junior, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kabil, for the time. Now I would like to talk about our material and methods. We use the systematic review and the meta-analysis design. And this study was conducted according to the PRISMA 2020 guideline to ensure the rigor and transparency in the review process. The protocol was prospectively registered in Prospero under the ID CRD 420 251039100, and these registrations reduce the risk of bias and enhance the credibility by making our methodology publicly available before the review was carried out. We perform a comprehensive literature search across the PubMed, Embase, the Cochrane Central Register of Control Trial, and Web of Science. The search strategy combined both keyword and mass term related to isofluran, sevofluran, general anesthesia, and randomized control trial. The aim was to capture all relevant randomized trials that directly compare these two anesthetic agents. We included adult patients aged above 18 years old, older, who underwent general anesthesia with either isofluran or sevofluran. Only randomized control trials were eligible, and the data extractions covered study authorships, publication years, country, patient demographics, type of surgery, anesthetic protocol, and post-operative outcome. The extraction was performed independently by two reviewers, and this agreement was resolved by discussions and consensus. The risk of bias was assessed using the Cochrane of Risk Bias 2.0 tools, and we evaluate the domains such as the randomizations, allocation concealment, blinding, and the completeness of the outcome reporting. For statistical analysis, we use Review Manager software of Fragment version 5.4.3, and the heterogeneity was assessed with the chi-square test and quantified using the I-square statistic with 50% moderate heterogeneity, and result was expressed and relative risk for dichotomous outcome and mean difference for continuous outcome, both with 95% confidence interval. Now we move to our result. We initially identified 973 records through the database search, including the PubMed. We found around 284, the Embase 301, Web of Science 196, and the Cochrane 192 articles. And after removing duplicates, a number of 757 record remains. From this, we screened the titles and abstract and excluded 689 studies. The main reason for exclusion were non-randomized design, irrelevant populations or interventions, study not directly comparing isoflurane and sevoflurane, and review or conference abstract. And we then assessed the 60H full article for eligible. Of this, 59 were excluded for reasons such as the comparing intravenous rather the volatile agents, involving pediatric or non-surgical populations, missing outcome data, duplicate cohort, and language limitations. Finally, 9 randomized control trial met all the criteria and were include the qualitative synthesis and meta-analysis. Next point will be delivered by Mr. Kevin. Time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Junior, for present our presentation. Now I will continue our presentation today. In the result, in characteristic of included studies, these 9 studies included a total of 2,176 adult patients undergoing various surgical procedures under general anesthesia. Half of the patients received isoflurane and the other half sevoflurane. The type of surgery varied from cardiac surgery like on and off lung CABG and valve replacement and to general surgery. The outcome assessed were comprehensive, including ICU stay, 30-day mortality, extubation time, and hemodynamic stability. We also evaluate the risk of bias using the Cochrane ROB 2.02. 7 studies were rated as low risk, while 2 had some concern, mainly due to unclear allocation concealment. Importantly, none of the studies had a high risk of bias. Now, for our primary outcome, the composite of 30-day mortality or ICU stay of 48 hours or more. In the sevoflurane group, the incidence was 25%, and in the isoflurane group, it was 30%. The pooled analysis yielded a risk ratio of 0.82 with a p-value of 0.21. This meets our predefined non-inferiority margin, meaning there was no statistically significant difference, and neither agent proved superior to the other. We also look at potential publication bias. The funnel plot was symmetrical, and Ager's test produced a p-value of 0.28, indicating no significant publication bias. So, what do this finding means? Essentially, isoflurane is non-inferior to sevoflurane for major perioperative outcome: mortality, ICU length stay, extubation time, myocardial injury, and hemodynamic stability. All show comparable results. In other words, both agents are equally safe and effective. Clinically, this is quite important, especially for research-limited settings. Isoflurane is significantly less expensive, yet delivers the same level of safety and efficacy. This means the choice of anesthetic should be driven purely by novelty or cost assumption, but rather by evidence, patient-specific needs, hospital protocol, and research availability. Of course, there are limitations. There was moderate heterogeneity among studies in terms of surgical type and perioperative care. Most trials were small, single-center RCTs, long-term outcome data were scarce, and we couldn't perform detailed subgroup analysis. And while the funnel plot didn't suggest publication bias, the small number of study limits the statistical power to detect it. In conclusion, isoflurane remains a safe, effective, and cost-efficient alternative to sevoflurane for general anesthesia across a range of surgical procedures. We found no significant difference in key outcomes, including mortality, ICU stay, intubation time, myocardial injury, or hemodynamic support requirement. Therefore, anesthetic selection should be guided by evidence-based practice tailored to the patient needs, institutional protocols, and available resources, rather than assumption about pharmacological superiority.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Kevin. That concludes our study presentation. Allow me to end with a quote: "When the science show no winner, the patient wins through choice." Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.